Hello there, Steve Stein here again. I had someone that had asked me a question regarding power chords and how they're played and what they are. So as quickly as possible, I'm going to try and kind of clear all this out for you so you kind of understand what they are. First of all, you have to understand that the first thing you usually do on a guitar is you start learning how to play like D or G or C or E minor, things like that. And we still need those chords for sure. But the difference between a power chord and those open chords are two things. Number one, a power chord is not major and it's not minor, so it doesn't have those happy and sad qualities. It's missing those on purpose. And the second thing that's different is, instead of playing in one spot on this, the power chords enable you to move anywhere you want to go on the guitar. So you move up and down this way, not only staying in just one spot. Okay, and certainly power chords are used for all sorts of different music, be it blues or rock and roll, country, pop music, and maybe even a little jazz, although probably much less in jazz, but certainly used by all kinds of styles of music. So anyway, let me show you what happens here really quick. If you were to take, for instance, an E chord, if you know how to play an E major chord, okay, the third string, the first finger right here, is the note that makes that chord major. So if I take that finger off, the chord becomes minor. So with a power chord, what happens is you don't want this string. You don't want to strum that string. So you don't want this finger here because you might accidentally strum it, and you don't want to take it off because you might accidentally strum that. You don't want that string. So you're left with the top three strings that are available for you to strum. So instead of making an E chord like this, what we're going to do is we're simply going to take these two fingers right here. We're going to press with our first finger across those two strings right there. And then we're just going to deaden out the rest of the chord by kind of touching it with the rest of our finger. I don't have to press down on it because then I'm making it like a bar chord. I don't want to do that. But vice versa, I don't want to lift my finger all the way up like this so I'm not touching those strings. The goal with a power chord is to press on the things you need and then deaden out everything you don't need, and that way it makes it easier for you when you strum. So this right here is an E major chord. This is an E minor chord. So that tells us that third string we don't want. Okay? So now take your index finger and press on those two notes right there of that E chord or E minor, whatever you want to call it, with your first finger, and then just kind of lay across the strings here. Now the true goal with this power chord is to make sure that when you strum, you're not making big open strums like this. You're staying a little smaller to be more careful, especially when you first start playing them. So you're only strumming the top couple three strings. Now, if you think about it in theory, I'm pressing on three strings, but I really only need to strum the top two to be safe. Okay, the third string, which is I'm sorry, I should call it the fourth string, but the third string of the sequence here, okay, is just an octave of the sixth string. So when I'm pressing like this, the sixth string is E, and so is the fourth string where my finger is here. And again, I don't need to go into great detail on that, but the point is that it's not an absolutely necessary note. So what you're doing is you're pressing on the fifth and fourth strings here, you're deadening everything else, and you're targeting strumming the sixth and fifth strings with your hand. If you'd happen to hit the fourth string, you're fine. Okay? I always tell my students if you try and hit the top two, you're more than likely going to hit the top three anyway, which is fine. If you try and strike the top three and you keep hitting more than that, though, you might run into problems. So you just need to be really careful. So this is called an E power chord. One of the most important power chords we can learn how to play. Okay? Now, if I was to take this power chord and all the ideas with it and move toward the floor one string, and now move my pick down one string, so I'm pressing on the third and fourth strings instead of the fourth and fifth, and then I'm deadening everything underneath, and now my pick is going to play the fifth and fourth and possibly the third string, I've got myself an A power chord. You know, obviously a lot of music uses these chords, from Led Zeppelin to AC/DC to, you know, Buck Cherry to who knows what. I mean, there's a billion things in between there that would be using these kind of chords. Okay, so we have our E power chord, which is the top two or three strings. Then we move down, and we've got our A chord, which is the fifth and fourth and possibly the third strings. Okay? And then the last one in the open position that we really would need to talk about right now, just to get you going, is if we took this A chord and moved it down yet another string, we could do a D power chord, but this one causes a problem. Because if you think about a D chord is shaped like this. So we have somebody sitting right here.